Only on Fox 4 News tonight, a story about gender equality that is rare and possibly unprecedented for our area.
A veteran member of the Arlington Police Department is becoming the city's first ever transgender police officer. The officer who joined the force nearly 2 decades ago as a man is now mid-transition to become a woman. Fox 4's Deanna Anglin tells us how the officer and the city are handling the transition. First tonight here at 6. Dion.
Well, Heather, the officer, we understand, is home recovering from surgery. She today respectfully declined our request for an interview. We are not identifying the officer to protect her privacy.
The officer, who is transitioning from a man to a woman, has been with the Arlington Police Force for more than 18 years, working patrol.
Is it most appropriate to refer to
we
the officer
can
as
say
she?
Yes. In fact, it's appropriate to say she.
David Mack Henderson with the LGBT advocacy group Fairness Fort Worth has acted as a liaison between the officer and her employer, the city of Arlington. He says the officer first reached out to his group more than a year ago during mandatory training the city provided on LGBT awareness.
They wanted to have a conversation with those of us who've seen these transitions on the job before and create a dialogue on how best to proceed.
The city responded to our request for information regarding its first ever transgender patrol officer. Its entire statement reads, "The City of Arlington is an inclusive, supportive organization, and we respect the privacy of all our employees." Gender equality in the workplace has been a hot-button topic recently, with issues like a proposed ordinance in Houston being struck down over dispute about where transgender people would be allowed to use the bathroom. With that in mind, we asked the Arlington Municipal Patrolmen's Association if it is involved in the job-related details surrounding the officer's sex change. A spokesman for the group says the union has no comment at this time. Henderson keeps in touch with the officer, whom he says is currently out on medical leave.
My understanding is that the officer, who is in mid-transition currently, had a long dialogue with the city of Arlington and with the police department senior staff about what this transition would look like and how it would involve the police department and the city and how it would not.
Henderson is optimistic, but also realistic about the officer who is planning to return to the beat as a woman.
Oh, I think it would be naive to suggest that everyone who greets this officer when he or she returns to work will all have the same opinion. We're a big country with a lot of opinions and a lot of fears. But what I find unique is that the more people who meet folks who are transgender, the more realize what's the problem.
Henderson points out, as with anyone undergoing gender transition, it is a lengthy process and includes extensive counseling, and this officer's case is no different. In the Fort Worth newsroom, Deanna Anglin. Heather, back to you.
All right, Dion, thank you.
Seattle area transgender cops interviewed in HBO documentary by Craig Saylor at thenewstribune.com. LinkedIn, Google+, Pinterest, Reddit. Print order reprint of this story. 2 local transgender law enforcement officers, one a Seattle police officer and the other a King County Sheriff's deputy, are the subjects of a documentary on HBO. Vice News Tonight correspondent Caroline Modaresi-Terani interviewed Officer Tori Newbern and Sheriff's Deputy Jamie Deere for the program. Newbern is the first openly transgender officer on Seattle's force. He had begun his transition to male when he enrolled in a police academy in 2014. "People wouldn't know I was transgender unless I told them," Newbern said. Deere began his career in the sheriff's office as a woman. When he began to transition, he knew he had to come out as transgender. "I would rather face an armed suspect than having to come out to 700 coworkers," Deere said. To open yourself up like that was terrifying. Newbern and Deere said they hope their coming out will foster trust between the transgender community and law enforcement agencies. It's a long process to earn trust back when trust has been broken in the past, Newbern said. My hope is that me coming out as a transgender police officer will be another layer in building that bridge. Trans Law Enforcement premiered Thursday on Vice News Tonight. It is available on HBO Go, HBO Now and HBO On Demand. As the transgender community has gained visibility, legislation affecting them has increased in the form of so-called bathroom bills that require transgender people in public buildings to use the bathroom that corresponds with the sex on their birth certificate. In Washington, proponents failed to get a measure on the ballot in 2016. Craig Saylor, 253-597-8541, @CraigSaylor.